Hey there, it's Brian with brandstack.co, and today I'm going to show you how to customize the scrolling marquee section. So we are here on the back end of our website where we've already installed this section, and we're going to click customize. This is going to bring up the Shopify customizer, and then we can navigate to whatever page we want to add this section to. Today we're going to build the section on the Our Work page, which is just kind of a page that shows off all of the different brands that we've built. Now over here on the left are all of the different sections that make up this page. At the very bottom we can click Add Section and then search for Scrolling Marquee. Now when we click this, it's going to automatically add it down here at the bottom. You'll see it has this dark gray background with no content by default. Now, typically I would go through the section settings at this point, but there are 4 different types of blocks, and I want to both introduce them to you and also set up each one, and then we're going to pop back over to the section settings. So over here beneath this section, we can click Add Block. So like I said, there are 4 different options. First is the comment/review. Next is the image block. Third is the text block, and fourth is the image plus text, which is just kind of a, best of both worlds of image and text. So let's start here with the comment/review. This is perfect for showing off testimonials or reviews for your product or website. First things first, we can change the background color of this block. So we can make it black, red, white. We're going to go with white, and then we can add an image to this block. Let's add this nice image we have of Frodo Baggins here. And then we can play with the image size. We can make it all the way up to 100 pixels and as small as 25. We're going to go with something like 35 here, maybe even 40. And then we can play with the image border radius. So this image is a square, so if we have it at 0, it will stay a square, but if we go up all the way to 100, it will be a perfect circle. And then we can actually add the comment or review. So we could say, I love, well, we can put it in a parentheses, not parentheses, quotes. I love this section more than I love Elvish bread. Frodo Baggins, who is apparently a big fan of this section. So then we can play around with the border around the text box. So you probably can't see this right now because it is a gray background, but if we go white on the section settings, you'll see that there is a gray background here. And if we click this checkbox, it will remove that. So if you have both your background color white and your block background white, you won't see anything now. So we're going to go back and change our background color to be this soft gray. And then we'll be back here in just a minute to go through the rest of those settings. And then we have the option to change the text color. We're going to keep it black, and then we can increase or decrease the text font size. Let's go with 15, and that is our comment or review block. Next up, we have an image, and first things first, we upload the actual image. We have this picture of a wizard here, and I'm going to hop down to the bottom for a minute just to make it bigger so that we can actually see it. We can go all the way from 30 pixels, which is very small, all the way up to 500 pixels. We're going to go with something right around 300. And then I'll come back here to the top. So right now we just have a single image there, but if we add a second image, it will add a hover effect on this image. So if I hover over this image, you'll see the second image that we uploaded. And then we also have the option on mobile. If we click this checkbox, it will display the second image by default. There are no hover options for mobile, just because when you're going through it with your finger, hovering over it often means it doesn't, open links and stuff like that. But if we click this checkbox, you'll see right now it shows that first image. And when we click that, it will show the second image by default. And that is mobile only. So we can now add a link. Let's say we want to link to our about page. We could add a link there, and then we can play with the image size. We can play with the image border radius all the way from 0 to keep it a square all the way up to 100. We're going to go with 5 here. So that is the image block. Next, we have text, and this includes a heading and description text. Let's start with a heading. Now we can also play with the text color. We can make it purple. We can play with the text font size all the way from 30 down to 14. Let's make it 30. And then we can add a description text that shows up beneath the heading text. Same thing here. We can play with the text color. We can play with the text size. Let's make it 15 to match the comment/review section. And then we can choose to keep the text on a single line. So right now, by default, it is spilling onto 2 lines because that's just the width of that block. But we do have the option to keep the text on 1 line. Now, when we do this, it opens up this block minimum width option as well. And it says this option will only work when keep the text on 1 line is enabled. So what this does is it makes the block width larger or smaller. Right now, by default, it's at 300 pixels, which this is why it adds these 3 dots here. Because the block minimum width is 300. But if we increase this, and this is really just a matter of playing around with it until you see all of your text. So we increase this until we can see the entirety of our text. So right now we're at 490. We're still not quite there. We can go up to 530, 600, and now we see the entire text block right there. So this simply allows you to increase the minimum width of the text block. So play around with it till you can see all of your text. And then if you add more, keep playing. So right now, again, it's going to show the ellipses. We just keep playing until we see all of the text. There we go. So if we want, we can keep it on 1 line, or we can just uncheck this to have it just show everything kind of stacked on top of each other. The last setting for this block is to align it left, center, or right. We're going to go with center. And then lastly, we have the image plus text. So first things first, we can choose the image placement on top or on bottom. And we're going to have the image on the bottom, and then we can add the image itself. So let's go with, let's just use the same image, this image of the wizard here. So it's added it right here. Same thing as the image block. We can add a second image on hover. Whoops. And then we can also choose to display that second image on mobile. As the default. So you'll see here it has this hover effect, and on mobile it shows that second image by default. Next, we can add a link or redirection just like our other image block, and then we can increase the image size, increase the image border radius, and then we can add our heading. Okay, I just realized that this shouldn't say image placement, this should say heading placement. So we actually want it at the top. I'm going to get that fixed. But yeah, heading placement is now at top. And we can play around with the alignment, left, right, center. We can change the text color, and we can change the text font size. Now let's keep that on 1 line, so let's go right there. The last setting for this block is we can add a little border around the heading. So if we click this checkbox, it adds a nice little border around our heading. That pushed it to 2 lines. Let's make it 1, and then we can change that border color. So so we're going to not have the border around the text, but that is our 4 blocks. They're all set up. I'm gonna go back into the the text block and change that from red to black. So now that we've set up our blocks, we're now going to jump over to the section settings, and there aren't many here, but we'll quickly walk through those. So first we have, and you already saw me play around with this a little bit, our section background colors. We can make it red, black, blue, green, doesn't matter. We're gonna go with this soft gray that we use on our website. And then we can play with the background padding. Now this is referring to padding within the section itself. So if I increase this, the gray area will get larger. So we want, let's go with 100 pixels, and that's basically going to add 100 pixels on top and bottom. And then we can choose the animation speed. The more left you have it, the faster it will go, and more to the right will go a lot slower. So find something that works for you. You can also click this checkbox to reverse the direction of the animation. So you can make it go left to right or right to left. And then you can choose to open all links in a new tab. So we added some links to these images. If we clicked those, it would open those links in a brand new tab. Next, we can play with the space between blocks. So we can add as much as 100 pixels or as little as 10 pixels. We're going to go with something right around 35. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then visibility settings. We have the option to hide this on desktop. We can hide this section on mobile, and we can also stop the scrolling animation on hover. So if we click that checkbox, when we hover over any of the blocks of the entire section, it will stop scrolling. And this makes it easy, especially if it's text heavy or you're showing off testimonials or something like that. That way when people, actually want to read something, they can hover over it and stop. And then lastly, we can play with the top and bottom padding. Now, unlike the background padding, which changed the padding within the section, this is referring to the section above, the padding above and below. So this is going to increase the white padding on top and bottom. So let's say 100 pixels, it's going to make that a lot larger, or on bottom, that a lot larger. So if we want 0 pixels on bottom, all the way there, 0 pixels on top, all the way there. And that is the scrolling marquee section. So you can use all of the blocks, you can use only one of the blocks, you can just have an image marquee or just text, but all of the blocks have been designed to work together if that's what you want, or you can use them separately. It's very fun to play around with. You can do a lot with this section, and we can't wait to see what you do on your website.